One storage tub. 5 minutes to set up. 72 hours later, you have twice as much fish feed as you started with. No swill, no weeding, no waiting months for harvest. Just water, sunlight, and a plant that's been feeding fish for over 1,000 years across Asia. NASA tested it for space stations. Vietnamese farmers grow it in rice paddies, and your local feed store has never mentioned it. Two things explain why almost nobody grows this. First, you can't patent it. It reproduces itself faster than you can use it. Second, every dollar you save growing your own feed is a dollar feed companies don't earn, so it stays quiet. But if you're raising tilapia, catfish, koi, or running an aquaponics system, this could cut your feed costs to nearly zero, and I'm going to show you exactly how to set it up. But first, have you seen this plant growing wild in your area? In ponds, ditches, or slow-moving streams? Drop a comment. Because if you have, you've been walking past free fish feed without knowing it. Now let me tell you what this plant actually is and why it works so incredibly well. Azolla is a tiny floating aquatic fern. Each plant is about the size of a coin, but it forms dense mats that can cover entire water surfaces. And here's what makes it remarkable. It contains 25 to 35% protein by dry weight. That's higher than most commercial fish feeds. It also has essential amino acids, vitamins A and B12, calcium, phosphorus, and beta-carotene. Fish don't just tolerate it, they thrive on it. For over 1,000 years, farmers in Vietnam, Thailand, China, and the Philippines have been growing Azolla deliberately, not as a weed, as a crop. They cultivate it in rice paddies, fish ponds, and dedicated growing beds. They harvest it daily to feed ducks, pigs, chickens, and especially fish. It's been part of traditional aquaculture systems for generations, and it's never stopped working. In the 1960s and 70s, researchers at universities across Asia started studying Azolla scientifically. They wanted to understand why it worked so well. What they discovered changed how we think about plant-based fish nutrition. Azolla doesn't just grow fast, it fixes nitrogen from the air. It forms a symbiotic relationship with a cyanobacterium called Anabaena azolai that lives inside its leaves. This bacteria pulls nitrogen out of the atmosphere and converts it into ammonia, free fertilizer built into the plant itself. That means Azolla doesn't need added fertilizer to grow. It fertilizes itself. And as it grows, it doubles in biomass every 2 to 3 days under good conditions. 1 handful becomes 2 handfuls, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8. Within 2 weeks, a small starter culture can fill an entire storage tub. That's exponential growth, and it's completely free. Real quick, if you're watching this because feed prices are squeezing your budget and you want actual solutions, this channel is for you. Hit subscribe. We're documenting methods that work but don't make corporations money. No fluff, just systems that save you cash. Now let me show you what NASA found when they tested this plant for space missions. In the 1980s, NASA started investigating Azolla as a potential food source for long-duration space missions. The problem with space travel is simple. You can't bring enough food. You need crops that grow fast, require minimal inputs, and provide complete nutrition. Azolla checked every box. It grows in water under artificial light, it reproduces rapidly, and it delivers protein levels comparable to meat. Studies published in scientific journals confirmed what traditional farmers already knew. Research from the University of the Philippines tested Azolla as tilapia feed. They replaced up to 30% of commercial feed with fresh Azolla. The fish showed no reduction in growth rate, no decline in health, and feed costs dropped by over half. Similar studies in India, Vietnam, and China produced the same results. Azolla works. It's not experimental, it's proven. Here's the nutritional breakdown. Fresh Azolla is about 90% water. When dried, it contains 25 to 35% crude protein depending on growing conditions. It also has 10 to 15% carbohydrates, 3 to 8% fats, and significant amounts of calcium, iron, magnesium, and phosphorus. For fish, this is a complete diet, especially when combined with other natural foods like daphnia or insects. Fish love it. Tilapia will swarm to eat fresh Azolla the moment you add it. Koi, goldfish, catfish, and carp all consume it readily. Even ornamental fish benefit from the natural color enhancement. The beta-carotene in Azolla intensifies red and orange pigments in fish scales. It's not just nutrition, it's health and aesthetics in one plant. So if Azolla is this effective, this well-researched, and this easy to grow, why isn't it everywhere? Why doesn't every aquaculture operation use it? Why don't fish feed companies sell it? Because it undermines the business model. Commercial fish feed is a billion-dollar global industry. Companies profit from selling pellets you have to buy repeatedly. Azolla reproduces itself. Once you have it, you never need to buy it again. There's no patent, there's no trademark, there's no supply chain to control. Azolla is a wild plant that's been domesticated for centuries. Anyone can grow it. Anyone can share it. And once it's established, it's nearly impossible to kill. That's perfect for farmers and homesteaders, but it's terrible for companies that depend on recurring purchases. So the information stays marginalized. Look, we're halfway through. If you're still here, you see the value. Subscribe so you don't lose this channel. YouTube buries content that doesn't sell products. We rely on people like you subscribing and sharing to keep this information moving. One click keeps this accessible to people who need it. Back to the setup. Here's how you grow it. You need a container that holds water. A plastic storage tub works perfectly. Black is better than clear because it prevents algae growth. Size doesn't matter much. Start with a 20 to 50 gallon tub. You also need a location that gets at least 4 to 6 hours of sunlight per day. Azolla can grow in partial shade, but it doubles faster with more light. Fill the tub with water. Rainwater is ideal, but tap water works fine if you let it sit for 24 hours to let chlorine evaporate. Azolla grows best in still or slow-moving fresh water with a pH between 4.5 and 7.5. You don't need to test it unless you're having problems. Most municipal water falls within that range naturally. Now you need starter culture. You can order Azolla online from aquatic plant suppliers, pond plant retailers, or aquarium hobbyist groups. A small bag of Azolla, about the size of a sandwich bag, costs $5 to $15 and is enough to start. You can also collect it from the wild if you find it growing locally. Just make sure it's Azolla and not duckweed, which looks similar but lacks the same nutritional profile. Drop the starter culture into your tub. It will float and begin spreading across the surface immediately. Within days, you'll notice growth. Under optimal conditions, warm weather, good sunlight, and adequate nutrients, Azolla can double every 48 to 72 hours. Cold weather slows it down. Temperatures below 60 degrees Fahrenheit significantly reduce growth. Above 95 degrees, it can stress. Ideal range is 70 to 85 degrees. Azolla doesn't need added fertilizer, but it grows faster with nutrients. If your Azolla starts turning reddish or yellowish, it's nitrogen deficient. Add a small amount of liquid fertilizer, compost tea, or even diluted urine, 1 part urine to 10 parts water. Stir it into the tub. The Azolla will green up within days. You can also add a handful of composted manure once a month. Harvest by scooping out handfuls with a fine mesh net, strainer, or just your hands. Leave at least 20 to 30% of the surface covered so it can regrow. Rinse the harvested Azolla in clean water to remove any debris or insects. You can feed it fresh or dry it in the sun for storage. Fresh Azolla is 90% water, so drying concentrates the nutrients and extends shelf life. For tilapia, feed fresh Azolla as a supplement or main diet component. Start by offering a small amount, about 5 to 10% of their body weight per day. Watch how they respond. Most tilapia will eat it eagerly. You can gradually increase the proportion. Some aquaculture operations replace up to 40% of commercial feed with Azolla without any loss in growth or health. If you're raising fish commercially or running an aquaponics system, scale up by adding more tubs. 3 to 5 tubs can produce enough Azolla to significantly reduce feed costs for a backyard tilapia operation. Commercial growers in Asia use dedicated ponds or raceways, but the principle is identical. Provide water, sunlight, and occasional nutrients. The plant handles the rest. Let's talk about what this means financially. A 50-pound bag of commercial tilapia feed costs $30 to $60 and lasts about 2 to 3 weeks for a small backyard setup. That's roughly $500 to $1,000 per year in feed costs. A few storage tubs of Azolla can replace 30 to 50% of that. You're looking at saving $150 to $500 annually. And your only costs are the initial $10 to $15 for starter culture and maybe $20 for tubs. But it's not just about money. It's about resilience. Feed prices fluctuate with fuel costs, supply chain disruptions, and global grain markets. When feed prices spike, your costs spike. When you grow Azolla, you're insulated. You control your feed supply. That independence has value beyond dollars, especially if you're trying to build a sustainable food system that doesn't rely on external inputs. Here's what one backyard aquaponics grower told me. He raises 50 tilapia in a 300-gallon tank. He started growing Azolla in 3 storage tubs. Within a month, he was harvesting enough to replace about 40% of his commercial feed. His fish grew just as fast, their color improved, and he saved over $300 in the first year alone. That's not theory, that's real-world application. Azolla also improves water quality in aquaponics systems. It absorbs excess nitrogen and phosphorus from fish waste. This reduces nutrient buildup and keeps the system balanced. So you're not just growing feed, you're also filtering water. It's a dual-purpose plant. And that's why traditional Asian aquaculture systems have integrated it for centuries. It solves 2 problems at once. Before you go, try this for 1 month and come back. Tell us your results in the comments. How fast did it grow? Did your fish eat it? What problems did you run into? Building a community of people actually doing this is how we improve these methods. And if this saved you money or taught you something valuable, share it. Send it to someone raising fish. Post it in aquaponics groups. Information like this spreads when people push it forward. Azolla isn't new technology. It's ancient technology that modern systems forgot. But you don't have to forget it. You can grow it. You can feed it to your fish. You can cut your costs. And you can do it starting this weekend with 1 storage tub and $15. The plant does the work. You just have to let it. Feed companies will keep raising prices. Supply chains will keep breaking. But nature already solved the problem. And now you know how to use it. Go grow some Azolla.